Another key support worker responsibility for assisting a client with domestic services at home could be undertaking the task of vacuuming for a client. With that, it's important that staff have their safety switch with them, so they're able to use that with the device such as the vacuum cleaner they're using. In preparation, my client has the vacuum cleaner out for me, so I need now to ensure that I've got an adequate area to vacuum with. This means moving objects such as tables that are on casters or lightweight little tables I can remove. So bringing these out of the way. Okay, this ensures that I've got adequate room around to move. If I'm looking at any other furniture, if I can't move it with minimum force, we leave it in place and I will vacuum around it. If a client asks you to actually move furniture that is quite heavy, please direct them to your case manager or call the office just to let them know the requirements. Part of your policy and procedure is to ensure that you have safety at all time in the workplace, and what expectation a client may have of you to move furniture could actually be too heavy and a risk to yourself. So politely just advise the client you need to refer that on to the office. So with my safety switch I've got in hand, I've got my vacuum cleaner here, bringing it out. With the vacuum cleaner I have to ensure a couple of things, that I'm actually coming down low to release the cord, ensuring that I don't over release. So once the cord actually shows resistance stop, if we pull it too hard, we could actually be affecting the use of the vacuum cleaner and it becomes faulty. Finding your nearest power point and plugging the safety switch into the wall, activating the safety switch on, plugging in my vacuum cleaner, doing a safety test first prior to use. It's giving me the indication it is okay to use. Coming back to my vacuum cleaner, as far as the setup of a vacuum cleaner, we're all different shapes and sizes, so it's important that the device I'm using isn't going to impact on my well-being. Currently this is too low and short. Need to ensure that I actually raise the wand of the vacuum cleaner to a suitable height, so I'm actually ensuring my elbow is nice and close to my body. The rest of the vacuum cleaner could become a trip hazard. Good method to use, bringing the hose of the vacuum cleaner around your back or your waist. This keeps me in a nice upright position, and as I'm moving along with my vacuuming, so I've turned my vacuum cleaner on and we can actually just walk with the vacuum, avoiding any twisting motions, okay? Avoiding stooping. We're keeping a nice upright position, doing a lunge as we actually vacuum. Where there may be areas of the property that require me to come in close or low underneath a chair, I ensure I've moved any leads out of the way. Coming down, I can actually lunge in under the area that's required. Always important that we actually remove the headset where possible. Okay. Placing that there. So I can actually go around the skirting boards. This may not be required every week, however if we spread it out over the period of time, I'm able to get any dust off. The same with a door, going behind a closed door. So we open the door up, going behind the doorway, closing the door again. This is to ensure that any extra areas that require vacuuming, we're able to do so. So in conclusion, when we're looking at vacuuming and undertaking this process for a client or in a client's home, ensure that the equipment is ready for use. Emptying the bag after every use too is very important. So depending on the type of vacuum cleaner you have, it may be a disposable bag, it could be a bag that requires you to take to the outside bin, placing in another bag to empty it, and it could be a bagless vacuum cleaner. Again, being very careful not to breathe anything in. When we're looking at the storage of our vacuum cleaners, keeping them in a low area. You don't want to be pulling them down from a high shelf. Vacuum cleaners can at times be quite weighty, so we want to make sure that it's at an accessible level for us. Again, we need to make sure we let a client know where we are vacuuming, because once we've got a vacuum cleaner on, it can be quite noisy. You may not actually hear a client calling out to you, or a client may not actually know whereabouts you are. With the lead running across a hallway, could become a trip hazard. So it's always important to let a client know at all times what room you're vacuuming. Far better to plug in a vacuum in the room you're in rather than having a lead go from room to room. So important to remember your safety switch at all times. That is protecting you against any potential fault of wiring in the house, as well as any fault with your vacuum cleaner. If at any time there is a fault detected, if any of the leads have been identified as fraying, whether or not there's tape around the vacuum cleaner, somebody's made a makeshift, hold for it, important that you phone the office and report that immediately.